Comic Boom.
Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Batman issue 69. Well, Batman has finally figured out he's in a dream. Or apparently he knows he's been in a nightmare for quite some time. He knows he's been under the influence of some sort of toxin that was administered to him by Bane and the Flashpoint Batman. Now, how does he know that? Well, that's rather interesting. I mean, this is the finale of the Nightmare arc. It's written by Tom King. It's beautifully drawn by Yannick Paquette, the artist. Nathan Fairborn is the colorist. Clayton Cowles does the lettering, and Francisca Mattina does the variant cover. It's quite nice. But we're finally getting some movement here, and a revelation that Batman is not a complete idiot. Now, he's been having all kinds of crazy dreams. He's been dreaming about Damien and Dr. Pig, and he's dreamed about Constantine and Selina in different settings, and he had a dream about the Joker drowning, and it's really kind of been a little bit crazy on all over the place. Last issue, he had a dream about Selina and Lois Lane in a hot tub at the Fortress of Solitude. I mean, the dreams have been kind of all over the place. Most of them have been nightmares, I'll grant you. Last issue with Lois and Selina in a hot tub, that was more of a dream. But where does that take us? So we're finally here, and this is another issue, I guess, dream. This one's more of a dream too, with Batman this time dancing with Selina. This entire issue consists of Batman dreaming that he's dancing with Selina in various settings, and the art's so beautiful. I mean, that beautiful wedding dress of Catwoman that she wore, that was designed by Joelle Jones. I mean, it's drawn by Yannick Paquette, but again, beautifully drawn issue, just really great. And we finally get some revelations here. And the scenes go back and forth between Batman having a conversation with Selina as they're dancing in various settings, and a very interesting, very physical confrontation between Bane and the Flashpoint Batman. And we finally get some revelations here. Some questions are finally answered. Nothing really surprising here. We've sort of guessed that the Flashpoint Batman and Bane were working together, but it's nice to put a little bit more flesh on the bones, so to speak. Batman explains to Selina in his dream that he knows he's dreaming. And how does he know that? It's very interesting. I like the thought that Tom King put into the explanation at how intelligent Batman is at figuring out how and why he knows he's under some influence. And he's got a lot of experience with Scarecrow's fear toxin. And he knows he's under Scarecrow's fear toxin, and he suspects that it was administered to him by the Flashpoint Batman, who's at the behest of Bane. Now, why does he know that? Well, Batman does some, what I guess us readers would consider common sense reasoning, but also I think there's some degree of intelligence goes in there too, and it's nice to see. Basically, he knows from experience what the fear toxin feels like, and he knows the way to beat it. He knows the way to defeat Scarecrow's fear toxin. And what he knows he must do, as he explains to Selina in his dream, is that he's got to embrace his greatest fear. In other words, the way you combat fear is not to avoid it, which is what most people do when they're injected with Scarecrow's fear toxin, but rather you race toward it. You embrace your fear and you imagine an even greater fear in order to overcome it. And by doing so, you increase the release of your adrenals. You increase your adrenaline in your system, and you basically you battle and you push out the fear, and you physiologically address the fear toxin more effectively by imagining your worst fear and basically fighting through it. You push through it. You work through your fear by accepting it and moving through it. And that's what he does. And it's discovered that Batman's greatest fear is losing Selina. And that's what this issue, it was a nice touch. It reinforced the fact that pretty much what we all knew for many, many issues. It took a long time getting here, but at least we're finally here. Batman admitting that his greatest fear is losing Selina, and his greatest fear was asking Selina the question, why did you leave me? Recall in issue 50, Selina did give Batman a letter, Selina did give Bruce a letter. He did read it, and that letter pretty much encompassed the full Batman 50. And basically, as Selina explains to him again in this issue, is I left you at the altar because of the vow, that you don't really love me, you love your vow. That's your suicide, so to speak. A harken back to the I Am Suicide story arc back in the, I can't remember the issues, it's been a while. But in any event, Selina's saying to him, look, I am your suicide. If you don't love me, you love the vow, your vow to protect Gotham. You're vowed to eliminate the criminal element from Gotham, to eliminate all crime. That's what you love. You don't really love me. And if you do love me, I'm only going to be a hindrance. I'm going to keep you down. It's not a good thing. So it's best that I just leave you. And that's his greatest fear. And his greatest fear in his dream is becoming a reality. And that's how he overcomes it. And it ends with Selina telling him, look, I have to go now. The dream is over. And she leaves. And he screams out to her cat he wants her to come back because he's afraid. But that's his greatest fear. So only by accepting it, embracing that great fear and experiencing it, and we readers are experiencing it with him, does Batman actually break the hold that the fear toxin has over him. And this is the finale of the nightmare arc, and he's finally overcome it. And so we know the next issue is going to finally be out of the nightmare that has been making up the story elements for the last 5 or 6 issues. Meanwhile, we've got a very interesting physical confrontation between Flashpoint Batman and Bane. And basically, Flashpoint Batman, I really love him. He's kicking Bane's butt, and they're sort of you can't say they're male bonding. They're definitely fighting, and they're having a conversation. And it's quite clear that Flashpoint Batman doesn't want his son to become Batman. And even Bruce Wayne, in his conversations with Selina in his dream, he basically explains to Selina that he believes that Flashpoint Batman is working with Bane because they both have one thing in common, and namely that is neither one of them want Bruce Wayne, to be Batman. They don't want that. Now, what's interesting here is that it's very clear that Flashpoint Batman is probably the mastermind behind everything, not so much Bane. Or at a minimum, Bane and Flashpoint Batman are working together. Flashpoint Batman seems to be arrogant enough to believe that he's in control. Bane, of course, thinks he's in control. Flashpoint Batman says, I am Batman, as they're fighting. Bane says, no, I am Bane. So they each get the leg up on each other during their physical confrontation, during their wrestling or fighting or whatever the heck they're doing. And at the end, of course, Flashpoint Batman cheats. He's being defeated by Bane, and he puts a gun to Bane's head, basically defeating Bane. But really, they both have the same agenda, and that is to have Bruce give up being Batman. The idea being that, look, you can't be happy and be Batman at the same time, so just give up being Batman. Now, how is that going to play out? I'm not sure. How does Flashpoint Batman, what influence has Flashpoint Batman had on Bane? Did Flashpoint Batman confront Bane early on at some point after the Button series? I'm not really sure. What's the exact timeline in terms of the Flashpoint Batman and Bane teaming up? How much of control of this storyline and the plot elements and the manipulation of Bruce Wayne and Batman, how much of that has been at the behest of Flashpoint Batman versus Bane? Who's been the real mastermind here? Is it Flashpoint Batman? Is it Bane? Is it a combination of both? We're not really sure yet. Those are the answers that are going to come in future issues. Guys, I'm enjoying this. Finally, we got some movement here. It's frustrating that it took this long to get here, but it's nice to see we're finally getting it. Lovers of the Selina Kyle, Bruce Wayne, and of the wedding issue will like this issue because we see some acknowledgement that Batman really truly loves Selina, that his love is there. And it's his love for Selina combined with his fear of losing her that allows him to overcome the fear toxin. And I think that's nice to read, and that's something, and it makes it feel, you can literally go, I would suggest for many people, you could probably go from Batman 50 right to this issue, and it would be more satisfying than the interim, 18 issues, because this is issue 69. But in any event, guys, tell me what you think of Batman 69. I think we're finally having some movement here. The progress is pretty good. I mean, I got some minor nitpicks here, but overall, I've been so disappointed with what's come before in Batman that it's really good to see this nightmare arc finally end with some movement forward in the storyline. Looking at future solicitations, it doesn't really look like we're necessarily going to have a lot of movement in futures based on future solicitations, but who knows? I like that Flashpoint Batman's taking the lead. I like that Batman's finally showing some intelligence. He's figured out what's going on. He's linking Flashpoint Batman to Bane. He's making the connections that he should make. So that's really good. And we'll see where things go. Guys, tell me what you think of this issue. Give me some comments below. Hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. And until next time, Comic Boom out.